Welcome back, guys. This is the Seeing Red MMA podcast here. I am your host, Dustin, of course. This week, we'll be going over this weekend's UFC Fight Night in the Apex, Curtis Blaydes versus Sergey Pavlovich, and also some recent news that actually just dropped today. Today is Thursday, April 20th. So Dana White did a live feed on his Instagram today and discussed some news that was happening in the UFC. So let's dive right in. This weekend's main event, you got UFC heavyweights going at it. Sergey Pavlovich, who's 5-1 in the UFC. All of his wins have come in the first round via knockout. And then you also got veteran Curtis Blaydes trying to get another win and make his way to the title. Well, both guys are trying to make their way to the title, but either way, I mean, it's a good main event, number 3 versus number 4. UFC tries to do that as often as possible. With this one here, Sergey hits extremely hard. I mean, he put out Derek Lewis, Tai Tuivasa, a bunch of other up-and-coming guys. He does have that loss to Alistair Overeem in his UFC debut, but Curtis Blaydes has also fought the upper echelon of the division, has those fights against Derek Lewis, unfortunately lost, and also the losses against Francis Ngannou, but he's also got some really good wins under his belt, like Alistair Overeem, Chris Daukaus, fights like that. But man, if I had to give an edge here, there's no odds on the UFC's website to go over who I think who I would bet on per se. But if I just had to go over gut feeling here, I would probably say Sergey. I think Sergey has definitely just been on a bit of a more violent run as of late, and I think he's just going to do what Sergey does. He's going to go out there, throw very heavy hands, do what he does best, and he has some decent defensive wrestling, which Curtis Blaydes is really known for. But I mean, I don't know, man. If Curtis Blaydes gets him on the ground, it could be game over. I don't know if Curtis Blaydes will let him back up and let Sergey do Sergey things. But that's your main event here. You also got Bradtavares versus brunosilva, which the co-main event was supposed to be Song Yadong versus Ricky Simon, but that got moved to next Saturday. We'll talk about that next week there, but I was really looking forward to that fight. Glad it's getting its own main event, though, so it can get 5 rounds. But either way, Bradtavares versus brunosilva. Both decorated middleweights in their respective rights there. I know Tavares is coming off that unanimous decision loss to Duplessis, and then Brunosilva, he is coming off that KO loss to Gerald Meerschaert not too long ago. Both fought last year, about a couple months from each other, so roughly on the same timeline, but it has been a while since both of them have fought respectively. But that should be a good main event. I think I give Bradtavares the edge in that one. But probably the fight that everyone's looking forward to on this card, I would say Bobbygreen, who is now going to be known as King Green. Apparently he's changing his legal name. I don't know if it's just King Green. I don't know if it's just King. We'll see. But he said after this fight he will then be legally changing his name to King. So we'll see how this fight plays out here. But Jaredgordon coming off his pretty... He got robbed in his last fight. He fought Paddy Pimblett, lost a decision that he definitely should have won. Sucks for him, but Bobbygreen's coming off that knockout loss to Drew Dober. So both these guys coming off of pretty disappointing losses there, but at the same time, I think this is going to be a really good fight to test where these guys kind of stand in the division. Your fight before that, you got Iceman Lucindo versus Brogan Walker. If you watch the Ultimate Fighter, the most recent one, Nunes versus Pena, Brogan Walker was on the show as well, too. UFC debut for Brogan Walker. I have no idea who Lucindo is, so we'll see how that one plays out. If you know this guy and the other guy, if you know these guys, plural, multiple guys, this should be an exciting card opener to the main card. Jeremiah Wells versus Matthew Semmelsberger. Both got extremely heavy hands. I remember watching Jeremiah Wells send Court McGee to the Shadow Realm not too long ago. And Matthew Semmelsberger coming off that pretty, I wouldn't say decisive, but is knock him out, drag out win against a Jake Matthews not too long ago. So that will be good. Ricky Glenn versus Christos Giagos, Ronnie Yaya, Montel Jackson, Carlo Rosa, Norma Dumont. I don't know why they even are putting on featherweight fights anymore. But this is a fight I was looking forward to as well. Was the return of Mohammedusman, the brother of former champion Kamaru Usman, taking on Juniortafa, the brother of Justin Tafa. So it's the brothers going at it here this weekend there. Mohammedusman coming off his Ultimate Fighter win over Zach Puangna. I think that's how you say it. He has got a weird last name there, so I apologize. But juniortafa, this is his UFC debut, Australian. Seen some highlights of him in kickboxing. The dude's got really good hands. He's got really heavy hands as well, too. So I think majority of this fight is going to play out on the feet. Francis Marshall versus William Gomez. Priscilla Cachoeira, Karine Silva. Hopefully Karine Silva wears goggles so she doesn't get her eye removed. That seemed to be what happened a lot in Priscilla's career. But, hey, Cachoeira is a pretty good fighter, so we'll see how he does. Brady Heiston, also a Ultimate Fighter alumni. We'll see how he performs against Batgarel Dana. I think that's how you say it, Dana, from Mongolia. So we'll see how well he performs in this fight as well, too. But that's pretty much your whole card. I mean, definitely not a great card as a whole, but I would say it's very top-heavy, especially with that main event. And even then, it's not a main event that a lot of people will be like, oh, yeah. Like, oh, everyone's going to watch this. I mean, it's kind of more of like the hardcore's main event there, where a lot of people are going to be watching that, kind of going and looking at it from their own lens there. They're not really going to be like, oh, I know everyone's going to want to watch this one. Yeah. I mean, not necessarily. But the news I wanted to talk about here, I'll kind of just go through it. I made sure to retweet them on my Twitter. Again, follow me at SeeingRedMMA if you want to keep up with my Twitter and all the tweets that I have on there, all my shit posts. But we got some fight announcements here today. That's what I was really excited to talk about. Marvinvettori, to start it off, will be fighting Jaredcannonier on June 17th, UFC Vegas 75. More than likely in the Apex. It is a main event fight. That'll be 5 rounds. Man, I mean, Cannonier coming off the win over Seanstrickland. Vettori coming off the, I guess you can call it a win over Roman Blaydes. I thought Blaydes got robbed there, but I think this is a perfect matchup for both guys to see where they're at in the division, especially with Izzy recently capturing his belt again. So it's a good way to see where his former opponents kind of line up there. Because like we all know, Izzy cleared out that entire division. So we'll see how both these guys perform and see where they kind of go and what their next step's going to be for the victor or the loser. Fight that also got announced, Seanstrickland will be fighting Abdusayapin Magomedov at UFC Vegas 76, which is July 1st. So that's the next Apex card after the Jaredcannonier fight. If you remember, Seanstrickland just fought, did he fight Cannonier last? I think he fought Cannonier last. He was either fought Cannonier last or, what's that guy's name? Either way, Cannonier's been a staple of middleweight for quite some time now, so good to see him always just trying to chase the win and chase a fight as well, too. I mean, the guy's always fighting. This will be some crazy stats, like 3rd fight in 7 months or something, which is, for a guy at this level, and especially fighting a guy who's only had 1 fight in the UFC, and it was just a front kick TKO. I mean, it's a pretty tall order to go against a guy that there's not much tape on. Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush got pushed to UFC 289 on June 10th. So that will be the co-main event to the Pena-Nunes 3 card that we're all just so happy got announced. Yes, thank you, Dana. We all wanted to see Amanda Nunes versus Juliana Pena 3. Yes, give us some more. Nom, 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 nom. Can't get enough. I feel sorry, Canada. When they said they were coming back to Canada, I thought that's where we were going to get Gaethje and Chandler or just a really big fight card to say, hey, we're sorry we haven't been here in a while. Appreciate you welcoming us back. Instead, they just shit on your plate and gave you Nunes versus Pena 3. So, hey, man, I'm so sorry for anybody in Vancouver that was wanting to go to that fight. And I'm sorry if you still go to that card. Hopefully it lives up and it is everything you want and more, because that main event is something nobody wants to see. Nobody wants to see that main event. I'm so upset that they made that fight. Speaking of main events nobody wants to watch, Raquel Pennington versus Irina Aldana. A rematch. Why? Irina should have got the title shot over Pena. It should be Pena and Aldana in Vancouver, if anything, and then maybe Pena over Raquel for #1 contender. But no. No. For some reason, no. I don't know. Women's divisions are in shambles right now, besides flyweight and strawweight. Bantamweight, Nunes, you're an amazing fighter. I have tons of respect for you, but you really made that division super dull. I'm sorry. But yeah, you're so much better than everybody else in that division. We just need you to fight Shevchenko and then retire. Let that division move on. You've dominated it for so long. There's got to be other opportunities somewhere out there for you to where we can just stop getting these horrible fights. Because Raquel Pennington, yes, she's talented. Is she championship caliber? No. Is Irene Aldana? Probably not. But we'll have to wait until she fights Nunes to find that out. I digress. Belalmuhammad is now the co-main event, fighting Gilbertburns in a 5-rounder on UFC 288, which is May 6th. It's only 2 weeks away. So they got 2 weeks to make weight. Should be easier for Gilbert since he just fought recently here. But Belal, I saw somewhere he's like north of 190 pounds, so he'll have to cut a decent amount of weight to make it there. But I think that's a perfect co-main event to kind of save that card, because that card was not looking great once Charles and Beneil got moved there, once Charles pulled out. So I'm glad to see we got a fight that's able to replace that fight that we lost there and actually find a decisive number 1 contender after Leon and Colby settle their fight. So that'll be fun. I got Gilbert winning that one. What else? What else? That was pretty much all the fight announcements from today from what I saw there. Let me go back onto the homepage there. People are wanting Shavkat versus Kamaru. That would be fantastic. Would love to see that. I think Kamaru probably beats him. Oh, so here we go. Here's actually somebody tweeted a picture of some of the upcoming fights here. So let's see if there's a way I can zoom in. I might have to get really close. Even with my glasses on, I can't see fucking shit. Okay. Oh, Jairzinho Rosenstruck, Jalton Almeida is going to be headlining UFC on ABC4 May 13th. Anthony Smith, Johnny Walker is your co-main event. Then after that, unfortunately, is Raquel Pennington versus Irene Aldana. And then after that, oh, that's right, Jack Hermanson versus Brendan Allen. They'll be fighting in a 5-round main event. UFC Vegas, ESPN 45. That will be June 3rd. And then the following event will be Nunes versus Pena. That will be the following weekend. And like I said, Vettori, Josh Emmett versus Topuria. That'll be Jacksonville. Strickland, Magomedov, Volkanovski, Yair, which is, I guess, labeled as verbally agreed. So there's no contract signed just yet. But it looks to be that's one of the that's some of the cards that are looking to come. But yeah, I mean, kind of a light week this week. I mean, other than this weekend's card, not much else going on other than just the recent news there. So yeah, I mean, enjoy the fights. They start at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's the main card. So I believe the prelims, let me double check. Prelims will be starting at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So basically 1 p.m. prelims, 4 p.m. main card. Set your calendars, set your alarms if you want to watch this card. Like I said, pretty top-heavy card. I mean, main and co-main, pretty intriguing. Bobby Green, Jared Gordon, Jeremiah Wells, Semmelsberger. And then you got, oh yeah, I almost forgot, Ronnie Yaya versus Montel Jackson. But yeah, Mohammedusman finally making his official UFC debut against Juniortafa. So that's it for this week's fights. I mean, there's really nothing else to talk about. I don't want to drag this on any longer than it needs to. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be kind of a shorter video because the news is kind of light this week. So like I always say, if you like my podcast here, make sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at SeeingRedMMA. Other than that, you have yourself a great rest of your day. Peace.